And we've got two beautiful powerhouse women, mother and daughter duo, and I love this combination. And these women are so inspiring. So beautiful Gabrielle, and I'm not going to attempt the last name because I always stuff it up. So with over 35 years experience in energy work, Gabrielle and Sarah share the extensive knowledge on trauma, the pandemic, and more through transformative workshops like Uncovered, Untrauma, or Rise. They're dedicated to empowering individuals to love their life song again. Oh, and my goodness, this piece about our life song and owning ourselves is really, really powerful. So I'm just going to share a little snippet to introduce them, and we'll have them on stage with us.
Mission and vision.
Our mission is to support and empower our clients through assisting them to love their life song, to embrace the essence of who they truly are. We aim to empower individuals with transformative tools and comprehensive knowledge, facilitating their journey to rediscover and embrace their true essence.
Through innovative education and practical guidance, we aim to support individuals in cultivating a deep connection with their inner selves, fostering spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional well-being. By nurturing this holistic approach to self-discovery, we strive to inspire a global community committed to personal growth, healing, and the realization of their fullest potential.
Our vision is to create a world where every individual possesses the profound tools and wisdom to reconnect with their authentic essence, anchoring themselves within their being to experience a profound sense of wholeness, spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Hi, I'm Sarah Scherbenau. And I'm Gabrielle Schlumberger. When I was 21, doctors told me I have to endure severe back pain for the rest of my life. That's when I turned to alternative healing methods and dove into holistic medicine and energy balancing techniques.
And I've been passionate about energy therapy for most of my life, since I was fortunate enough to grow up with it. However, my journey began about 10 years ago when I worked as an oncology nurse and just saw the suffering from the chemotherapy side effects that really wasn't tamed by medication. I sought out energy balancing techniques, and that's where I found my passion.
Fast forward to today, and we have joined forces to empower others on their healing journey.
Besides seeing clients in our private practices, our workshops like Uncovered, Moving Beyond the Symptoms, Untrauma, the Heal, Empower, Love Way, and Rise offer transformative tools for reclaiming control over your health and well-being. We tackle energetic side effects of the pandemic and all it entails, trauma from various energetic angles, and so much more.
We are committed to helping you unlock your inner healing power and unleash your fullest potential.
Join us on this journey of healing and empowerment.
Oh, what a beautiful introduction, and welcome, Gabrielle and Sarah. Oh, in the comments, beautiful Rich is like, I love creativity and catering for imagination. And, that was connected also to our previous speaker. But like, even in your presentation, your introduction, being able to share creatively, just like that snippet of your vision, it's been really beautiful to watch. So welcome. And what are you guys going to be sharing with us today?
Hi, thanks for the beautiful introduction. We are having sort of a masterclass for you guys all today about the title being, beyond the tidal wave, understanding the pandemics. ongoing energetic impacts, just because that's kind of become our field of specialty, I suppose you could say.
Excited for this workshop, and Gabrielle as well. What are you looking forward to in this session?
So we are really looking forward to just sharing a little bit of our knowledge with the audience and sharing a little bit a snippet of a technique we teach, which is really powerful and can already start to change your life.
So excited. And without any further ado, I'm going to give you guys the reins, and you can.
How can we stop that?
Maury, you think we can stop the video? Okay, I think it was paused. I think we'll just go ahead and get started. We jumped a little bit ahead, but you guys can go ahead and ponder that question a little bit.
So, yeah. And before we jump into the topic, we would like to start with an opening blessing to create a sacred and welcoming space. So, we are learning with an open heart, Mayakor. Just join in. May this workshop be blessed with a divine presence, filling the space with love, light, and healing energy. May these teachings and techniques awaken our potential and bring forth profound healing and positive change. Let this space be filled with compassion, respect, and acceptance, allowing each person to feel safe and supported. May the knowledge shared here resonate deep within our souls, inspiring us to take empowered actions in our lives. With gratitude, we embrace this opportunity to learn, grow, and support one another, trusting that this workshop will be a catalyst to profound shifts, leading us to lives of joy, purpose, and fulfillment. And so we open ourselves to receive blessings and insights in this moment. May miracles unfold and hearts be forever changed. In love, healing, and transformation, we offer our deepest gratitude and invite divine blessings upon this gathering. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. All right, beautiful. So we would recommend maybe having a piece of paper and a pen if you can, and a glass of water. You'll need it for the technique. But let's first start with the fact that neither Gabby or I are medical doctors, and we're not allowed to treat or diagnose any disease. You know, the recommendations, the techniques, the findings we're sharing is really just from our personal truths and our experiences from our private practices and what we found. And we're not liable for risks or issues associated with using or acting upon the information in this masterclass. I know, fun, right? But it has to be said just because of the sensitive topic that the pandemic and trauma is.
So, okay, after saying that, are you ready to dive into the fun part? Welcome again to our masterclass, Beyond the Tidal Wave, Understanding the Pandemic's Ongoing Energetic Impact. So we are so glad we have you to join us. And we choose these titles since the pandemic swept all the nations in 2020 and to this day remains ever present. And the initial impact was tremendous, as we all know. And the pandemic was like a tidal wave that hit and initially left everything hidden underwater. But the waves and water are retreating, and now, 4 years later, we are truly beginning to see the aftermath of what the pandemic created in the positive and also in the negative sense.
Okay, so let's actually just first jump into just talking about trauma. You know, we all experienced some shape or form of trauma during the last 4 years related to the pandemic. And when you go to Merriam-Webster, for example, and define trauma, it's usually defined something along the lines of it being a disordered psychic or behavioral state resulting from severe mental or emotional stress or physical injury. And we all know that trauma can be caused by major events such as, either natural disasters or violence. Just think 9/11 for us all in the US. Or then also we have to include the pandemic, and then there's other types of trauma that are the long-term trauma. And those are, for example, the persistent childhood neglect. One category, however, that we all kind of tend to forget, I know I do, is those daily minor traumas that our bodies and our subconscious, they register those and store them. And we might not even recognize them as traumas, right? It can really range from, I don't know, cutting your finger while you're cooking to a friend putting you down, or you're having an argument with your spouse, or you consumed a ton of processed food that just flooded your body with chemicals, which is also micro trauma for the body. And the trauma then overwhelms the body and mind, and it activates your nervous system and puts you into either fight, flight, fawn, or freeze response, right? And then some common responses to trauma or trauma responses really can be, those intrusive thoughts or inability to fall asleep, anxiety, the avoidance of people or places, or the things that remind us of the trauma, just to name a few. And those are more for the more severe traumas too, right? But something important to keep in mind is that everyone will have a different reaction. They will have a different viewpoint and a different trauma response. Just because something was traumatic to me doesn't mean that it was traumatic to Gabby, or that, or it could have possibly traumatized her in a completely different way, right?
Yeah, that's so true. Now let's bring our focus for a moment on what impact trauma has on our energy system. So your whole energy system is made up of numerous components, so including the meridians, chakras, and the aura, and all of which work together to generate a vital force field of energy around and within you. And trauma has the capacity to draw in the aura, shift it, distort it, expand it, or even contract it, disrupting the energy field balances. And additionally, trauma congests energy centers, as chakras, and can lead them to become overactive or underactive, affecting the overall flow of energy in the body. And trauma also blocks or stagnates energy in your energy lines, known as meridians. And once again, disrupting the whole energy flow in the body. So important to note is that if you already have a vulnerability in your energy system, trauma tends to accumulate, especially in that area, causing further imbalances that can have an impact on your or entire health. So essentially, trauma can leave energetic residue in the energy system, affecting people long after the incident that occurred. And the residue can trigger feeling of fear, worry, and other unpleasant emotion, and show itself as physical manifestation. So keep in mind that any disease first show in the energy field and then settles in the physical body. So that's why it's so important to clear the energy field of the trauma. And just let's use an example. You had a knee surgery, and then everything heals fine and it feels fine, but knee pain still can be present years after the knee surgery, even everything has healed. And that's due to the trauma of the surgery, and the impact on the body is still lingering in the energy field and is creating disruption, and therefore the pain is still there. So we cover energetic trauma on a conscious and subconscious level, generational trauma, collective trauma, and how you can clear it and release it, with a lot of other tidbits of information in our Untrauma workshop you can find on our website.
Trauma really has such a tremendous effect on our energy system, and we a lot of times don't realize it. And there's one specific trauma actually that might not even be on your radar. I know it wasn't initially for me, and that's collective energetic trauma. So collective trauma is, a psychological or an emotional impact that a whole group or a set of people, a whole community experiences because of a shared event. Take for example the fires in Hawaii. But in this case, for our topic, really, if you think about it, we all as humanity on this planet experience the pandemic in one way or another. Many of us experience the same collective traumas. Let's just take mask mandates, for example, or stay at home orders, and what you felt with all of that. And also then possible conflicts that, you had with family members, or friends, just really about the who believed what. Some received the vaccines, they stayed at home, they masked up everywhere, and followed all the rules to the T. And then you had the other group that kind of chose masks when necessary or when they were required, and then didn't wear them otherwise, and they declined the vaccines. Other traumas that occurred were jobs that were lost, small businesses, if you had one, you were forced to close and you were unable possibly to recover from months of no income, right? And the list can just go on and on and on. And I'm sure, we all have our own story and our own traumas that we carry from that. And, when you look around today, we honestly we find ourselves in a world that really is characterized increasingly by um, loneliness, by fears, by anxiety, by depression, and then also really that underlying inability to move on from the world and how it used to be, how you would have wanted it to be, and what we think it should have been instead of what it is now. The pandemic really created a large separation, illness, anxiety, and so much more. And collectively, we all have energetic imprints of the trauma of the virus and the vaccines within us. And, we have a popular workshop on COVID moving beyond the symptoms and trauma, which really dives into all those aspects of the virus shedding and vaccines on an energetic level. And it has a tremendously massive impact on us to this day.
Yeah, and that is so right. It's really worth to check it out. And by now, you might sense that there is more to COVID than just a simple little virus. So its energetic impact is massive. And we all know someone in our family or friend circle that seems unable to get well completely or seems to be unable to move past the last few years, even though they seemingly have tried everything. So, energetically clearing the virus and vaccines from our system while addressing the collective trauma can often be the missing piece of the puzzle when it comes to finding healing, especially if there has already been a good amount of work to move the needle towards healing.
Collective trauma has a massive impact. It's really kind of like we're all stuck in honey, kind of just stuck in a bigger thing that's, besides ourselves. And so at this point, really, it's become crucial that we collectively wake up. That we actually collectively acknowledge the challenges that we went through. That there is lingering effects that we're all still going through to this day. That there's beliefs that we still hold on to that were created during that time. And, that we wake up to just how much we all really collected various traumas during this time. We've never been more separated, more afraid, more lonely, more isolated. But the sad part is, at this point, we don't even realize it anymore, right? Because it has become the new norm for us. This is how life is now. And with that being said, there's we're going to cover three very prevalent emotions and mental processes now that have arisen throughout the pandemic that really need personal and collective healing. And the first one of those is judgment. So we have a question for you, and you can take about 2 minutes to kind of just jot your answers down and kind of see what comes up for you, because this can be kind of a wonderful starting point for healing for you. And the question would be, what beliefs and judgments did I develop during the pandemic? What traumas did I experience? So again, what beliefs and judgments did I develop during the pandemic? And what traumas did I experience? And just write down your first thoughts that come up. There's literally no right or wrong to be had here, okay? It's your story. Okay. So in regards to that question, what came up for you? Maybe it's something that came up for me was you find yourself disgruntled with anyone that breaks even the smallest of rules and judge them for it, because so many broke so many rules during that time, right? Or maybe the thought of wearing another mask on your face gives you anxiety. It does that for me. I don't want to have to do that again, right? And just think of the little things, the small traumas that kind of kept occurring over and over and over that gave you discomfort, and see if they need healing, where they need healing, and what that healing can do for you, right? And, healing will really, truly look so different for each and every one of us. But something that's really important that I want to remind you of, that we need to remember, is that we need to really support each other and provide the grace and forgiveness for each other if we want to grow collectively. It's time to wake up. It's time to let go and grow past these last few years and the limiting chains that they have created. It really is time to redefine our actions, our thoughts, our behaviors. It's time that, we decide that possible, negative consequences will no longer deter us. The reason why I say negative like this is that because of stepping out of your certain belief systems, it's going to shift your energy and how you present yourself to the world. And that might actually create some opposition from others and some friction in relationships, right? But don't let that fear dictate your decisions. I know it's easier said than done. I get it. We get it. We still have to work with that every day. But accepting your fear and then using it as a catalyst to move on can really propel you further than you might actually expect.
Yeah, and we all know that stepping out of our comfort zone, away from a belief system and judgment we carried, can really create a pain. And pain is part of human life, and we all know this, but hate to accept it. Am I right? the question becomes, what is more painful? Having a short-term pain because you refuse to confirm, or a long-term pain because you remain with judgments, lingering beliefs, limitations, and hatred? And most often, the short-term pain is less painful, right? For if you think about the long-term impact. So let's think about it for a moment. Picture it. You're faced with a choice, for example, to stay at home during the pandemic or socialize. And you can either speak your truth, follow your heart, and risk facing criticism and rejection based on your decision, or you can keep quiet and suppress your feelings and maintain the status quo to avoid confrontation and conform to the wishes of your environment. So, at first glance, the short term pain of speaking up might seem daunting. And it's like ripping off a band aid, and it stings for a moment, but then it's over. However, the long term pain of suppressing your true self, living inauthentically, and harboring negativity can be far more damaging to your well being. So here's the thing: short-term pain is inevitable, but it's also temporary. So it's like a passing storm, intense at first, but eventually it clears, leaving behind a sense of clarity and renewal. And long-term pain, on the other hand, lingers like a persistent cloud, casting a shadow over every aspect of your life. So remember, the path to healing and growth often begins with embracing the discomfort of change. It's not always easy, but it's really worth at the end.
Right. And embracing that discomfort and even just starting with the willingness of beginning on your path of healing is such a beautiful start. And so let's actually transition into the second emotion that has become really prevalent during the last 4 years and requires healing. And that is a just tremendous wave of extreme hatred that's present in the collective. And this hatred really has kind of led us to blame others, shift our responsibilities for our own actions onto others, and it's almost as if a long suppressed blaming energy was suddenly released and manifests itself in all walks of life, creating really just massive finger pointing and hatred. And the events of the pandemic have really intensified that energy. And it leads us to kind of the third emotion, which is really the key here. And that's the inner struggle that humanity really has had for a long time with its own powerlessness. We all felt powerless, and we all felt traumatized against an invisible foe, right? And it really, the catalyst for that powerlessness was/is the hatred, the anger, the anxiety, and the fear, to just name a few, right? Even though it's underlying powerlessness that we actually felt or feel. And, we acted from that place of powerlessness, and feeling powerless is really just one of the worst feelings. To me, at least it is, right? Like, I don't like it. And it's, not in this situation, it's not just intense powerlessness, it's also coupled with blame energy. And then it's also coupled with that self rejection. And so, if you have blame energy and reject energy, and we feel powerless, it's really that explosive, it creates that explosive combination where many of us, ultimately found a stage to finally express what we really think about the world, not caring what we said and how hurtful it was, right? And that could have really created craters and despair, but it can also be a gift, right? But in order for it to be a gift, there has to be growth. You have to have the willingness. It requires a willingness to grow, to accept that short term pain for that long term gain. That rhymed. It requires, on a personal level, forgiveness, love, acceptance, humility, and faith. And essentially we're all responsible in lifting and clearing the collective energetic trauma and its associated beliefs, that powerlessness, that hatred, that anger, that judgment that came up during the pandemic.
Yeah, and this is now where our RISE technique comes in. RISE stands for Reawakening Inner Self-Healing Energy. It's a simple yet powerful technique that can be used on a daily basis for self-care and self-healing. And when you work on yourself, you create a ripple effect that ultimately can lead to healing of humanity as a whole. So I would just say we just dive in. The PowerPoint already is up. Just let me get to the right slide here. So here we go. So, and what's important for this technique is that you only address one or two topics a day. Otherwise, you would overwhelm your whole energy system. And you will do a few different statements doing this technique. And really, it's essential here that you truly feel the emotions behind the statements. So it all starts with drinking a few sips of water. And I hope you all have your water here. And I will also explain this technique first, and then we will do all together. I guide you through the whole technique then. We will do it together. So drinking an adequate amount of water each day is essential for supporting various bodily functions, flushing the lymph, detoxing, and generally maintaining health and vitality, as well as promoting overall well-being. So, and then the next step is establishing a connection with source. And we are using the term source. It also can stand for whatever your belief is, God, universe, Buddha. Just you can replace it in your mind. And you just bring your hands up, facing upward, and then just stating, I now connect with source. And in that moment where you are thinking or saying that the connection is established, if you feel it or not. And then the next step is you set an intention for healing. That can be mental fog or back pain or knee pain, migraines, allergies, hatred, anger, powerlessness, whatever it is you want to heal. And for we just talked about this powerlessness, and as an example, we choose just lose to heal this powerlessness we all feel. So, and then the next step is there are 2 points on your collarbone, these bony points, and you use a part of your hand to tap these meridian points on your collarbone. And you tap that for about 7 seconds. And these are actually the kidney points, and they help to detoxify your whole body. And but also not on the physical level, but also on the mental, spiritual, and emotional level.
And just to throw an ad in here, incorporating detox practices in your lifestyle can really actually help you promote your health and your well-being, since you're then supporting your body's natural detox processes. And those points are really amazing to utilize for that.
Okay, and then the next step in the technique is tapping the thymus gland. And you can find your thymus gland by drawing a line from your under your armpit to the middle of your chest. And then you just start there tapping. And you tap there also for about 7 seconds. And then you stay there. I love, I believe, I trust. And you do say this statement 3 times once we do the technique all together. And tapping the thymus gland activates all your body's meridians so that they go back into flow, but it also helps to stimulate your immune system, helps to reduce stress, and also improves the oxygen flow in your body. And you even can use this thymus tapping as a standalone technique to unlock your meridians, or if you're starting to get a cold, just tap the thymus gland for 30 to 60 seconds, and that gives a really boost to your immune system. And if you do it every 2 hours, you are pretty quick over the cold you start feeling to get.
And so before we move on to the next step, you might realize you can actually use these separate points separately in different situations. But the next point is what's called the sacred point. And a sacred point is actually a cellular memory, and it's a concept that's really used in alternative healing practices. And it's actually believed that this point is an energetic center in the body that is actually associated with memories, with emotions and experiences, where it's all stored. And physiologically speaking, on your body, the cellular memory is believed to be located in a specific area, and that's actually often in your chest area, near the heart. And this point has a connection to the cells, but also to the subconscious of your body, right? So when you're working with this point, you can actually then work on releasing, negative emotions or blockages that are affecting your physical and emotional health.
So, and how can you find this sacred point? So the easiest way, it's on the left side of your body. You draw a line from your breast nipple to the middle of your chest, between shoulder and breast nipple. And if you feel around there a little bit, press around, normally you find there a point which is a little bit sensitive, and that's your sacred point. And then you just start massaging it. And you massage it, you come in the middle of the chest up and go down more on the outside. So massaging down on the outside and coming back up on the inside. And you see that on the slide. And once you have found this point and start massaging it, then you say here another statement. I love myself with all my heart. And you say that three times. And through this point, it goes directly into your subconsciousness. So once you have finished with that statement, you keep massaging it. And but you bring your focus back for a moment to your intention. And our intention is to heal the powerlessness. And then you start to say another statement. Just let me bring up the next slide. I release my root cause. So the root cause for this powerlessness. I unlearn my reaction, your reactions you have to powerlessness. And I let go of what I believed about myself, even believing that you are powerless. So, and you do this statement again 3 times. So after you have finished that, you don't focus anymore on your intention. You bring your intention on something beautiful. Let me say a purple flower or being at the beach. So something really beautiful what brings you joy.
Okay, so then next we have the rice point. So let's talk about that really quick. In the rice point, you'll be touching your index finger and thumb together on both hands. It'll look like this. And this gesture is actually known as the Gyan Mudra in yoga, or the Buddha posture. And this is actually believed to increase concentration, clarity, wisdom, spiritual connection. But what's actually really cool and fascinating about this is that your index finger represents all of our fears, your fears, right? And then the thumb is the neutralizer, since it actually represents grounding and stability. So when you touch them together, the thumb balances the fear out, and it balances and clears the associated meridians and the energy system. It's really neat.
So, and with this part of the technique, you start on one hand, putting thumb and index finger together and set the intention that they are connected. Some of you might feel the connection and might feel some tingling in there. So once you have established the connection on one hand, you do that on the other hand too. And once you feel on both hands the connection or maybe a tingling, whatever you feel, you then connect both points. Like imagine they are connected with a bridge or with a light beam or with a rainbow like you see on that slide. And once you have established that connection, you say another statement. And here you say, in the name of all creation, in the name of the light and the love that I am, I now create the ideal state for my inner power. So here we have to put a positive statement because we want to heal the powerlessness. We want to be in our own power, and that's what we put in there. And then you stay in there. You know, you feel yourself in there. You know, take a deep breath, concentrate on your breathing till you're completely calm, and bring your focus back, you know, to a beautiful thing, you know, being at the beach, the purple flower, whatever it is, something that bring you joy. And then you remain in this state for at least 5 minutes or until, if you're more experienced with this technique and have done it several times, maybe the tingling in your fingers stops, or you have tingling in your palms and stops, or you just know you are finished with it and have released whatever you can release during this time. But it also might take, I have done it and it took me 20 minutes till I felt the shift. Just stay in it. So as long as you don't feel it as much, stay in it at least for 5 minutes. And I know that you also will get a handout where everything is written down. And there are also more examples what you can release with it. So when this tingling stops or you have a sense of completion, then you go into forgiveness. And here you say a statement, I'm so sorry, I forgive me, thank you, I love me. And it's important, you know, that this point stays connected. Okay?
Something I want to add is that forgiveness here in this context, especially, but in general, really, forgiveness doesn't mean it's okay what happened, right? Or what I just did, but it's there to release that toxic energy out of, you know, your heart, out of my heart, out of our hearts, so that we can move on and heal. And this 4-sentence sequence comes from the practice of Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian tradition. It's something that we teach in depth in our RISE workshop. But it's really powerful.
Okay, once you're done with forgiveness, you give thanks and gratitude to Source, and then you release rise points. So you open your hands up again, and then you pat or shake or brush down both arms and legs to release the excess energy. So once you have done that, you drink some water again to flush your whole system. So now I would say just let's do it all together. I just bring the slides back to the beginning. And let's do it now all together. And one important thing I think we didn't mention it is with the rise points, once they are established, they need to stay connected till the end, till we say they need to be released. Okay? Okay, let's start with drinking some water. Now we establish a connection with Source. I'm now connected with Source. And we set an intention for healing our powerlessness. And now we tap the meridian points located on the collarbones for 7 seconds. Now find your thymus gland and tap it. I love, I trust, I believe. I love, I trust, I believe. I love, I trust, I believe. Now find your sacred point and start massaging it. I love myself with all my heart, and put all your feelings in here. I love myself with all my heart. I love myself with all my heart. Bring your focus back to your intention, healing powerlessness. I release my root cause. I unlearn my reaction. I let go of what I believe about myself. I release my root cause. I unlearn my reaction. I let go of what I believed about myself. I release my root cause. I unlearn my reaction. I let go of what I believed about myself. And now bring your focus on something beautiful. Connect the thumb and index finger on one hand. Feel the connection. Connect the index finger and thumb of your other hand. Feel that connection. And then connect both hands, the fingers. And connect them with a bridge, light bridge or rainbow. And feel this connection. And then you state, in the name of all creation, in the name of the light and the love that I am, I now create the ideal state for my inner power. And bring your focus on something beautiful. Bring your focus on your breath and stay in this calm. And feel the healing happening now. Be completely calm. Now you would stay in there till you have a sense of completion. Once you have this sense of completion, you go into forgiveness. I am so sorry. I forgive me. Thank you. I love me. I am so sorry that I created this situation. I forgive me. Thank you. I love me. I am so sorry. I forgive me. Thank you. I love me. And then you give gratitude to Source to help to heal and release the rise points. And then you pat and shake or brush down both arms and legs to release excess energy. And you finish up with drinking a sip of water.
All right, that was beautiful. Thank you. So I hope you all feel more at peace now and maybe even experienced or felt a small shift. Just kind of trust that the healing process has begun, okay? And we really want to challenge you now to practice this technique daily with one specific topic for a week and just kind of see what kind of transformation you experience and, feel at the end. We hope that each of you was able to take something from this masterclass, a small trigger, a shift in your thought process, or the knowledge that you can create healing in a matter of, at minimum, 5 minutes a day, right? And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or feel free to actually email us at heal.empower.love@gmail.com.
Wow. Oh, ladies, Gabby and Sarah. That was phenomenal. And that process, it kind of reminded me of just a combination of EFT, so tapping and using those powerful affirmations. But your combination again is unique and it's yours. And it was really beautiful to just like really hone in, and I love tapping. And I realized I hadn't done it for myself in a while, and I was like, oh wow, there's actual like pain there that I just need to release, and that I've been holding on to as well. So it was really beautiful to do that process with you, and such wonderful insights. So ladies, all of your links are being shared at the moment in our Facebook group. There's lots of questions, or not questions, there was lots of comments on the people that were engaging in that process and noticing what COVID had shifted them through. And yeah, this technique is really, really practical and so achievable. Like you did that in 5 minutes, and that's how easy it can be. And I think this is a really practical tool for everybody. And so also in your VIP goodie bag, what are you lovelies providing for anyone that's upgrading to VIP?
So in the goodie bag, we have a beautiful meditation. It's called Say Yes to Your Life, because many people are not saying yes to their life anymore, going through the pandemic and going through trauma, and that can help you to bring you back, say yes to your life. And then we also have a voucher for our popular COVID workshop, which gives you 25% off the price.
Oh, wow. What beautiful value. I'm just so excited to see what other amazing things are in this VIP goodie bag. So if you're listening in now and you've loved this summit, you want to access the replays for a longer period of time, access these goodie bags, these free resources to really, anchor in change and transformation and just support you in that growth. It's so valuable, and you're getting it for less than $50, and that is just like such a phenomenal gift. And we just want to provide these beautiful resources for people that are seeking more, seeking that understanding within themselves. And to have people like yourself here in this space are such a privilege. So thank you so much, ladies. And just quickly, how can people find you? Your links are being shared in all the spaces, but what's the best place that people can connect?
Our website and Facebook. So our website is www.healempowerlove.com. And then on Facebook, you can find us under our names, Sarah Sherbino, Gabrielle Schlumberger. And then we have a Facebook group, a private group that's called Uncovid, Moving Beyond the Trauma and Symptoms. And you can find us there as well, where we share a lot of information tidbits. We try to do a masterclass every month. A lot going on in there. And
Amazing.
that's
So many places. The joys of technology, and just being able to tap into those places to connect. So thank you so much, ladies, and look forward to seeing you pop in other parts of the summit as well. So thank you. Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon for our final guest for today.